through Leyton after dark and you might not see it at first. The hush between each step, the heads that don't turn. A 24-hour shop glows under a flickering sign. A boy on a bike watches. Doesn't blink. You think he's nobody, but someone's already whispered your name to him. In this part of town, things don't shout. They move in silence. Warnings passed in stairwells, stinking of bleach and fear. No colors, no anthems, just a quiet, enforced order. Ask around, no one's heard of them. Push deeper and someone might glance away. The Marley Boys. Not a name you drop casually. Not unless you want to be followed on the way home. They didn't follow the old playbook. No viral songs, no social media presence. Just control of the coldest kind. And that control turned entire estates into silent battlegrounds. It cost lives, especially young ones. What you're about to hear isn't just a gang story, it's a signal flare. And if stories like this matter to you, the ones that don't make headlines but shape entire cities, tap like and hit subscribe. Because this one's just getting started. East London's always been on the brink, layered with immigration, poverty, and generations raised in concrete high-rises, borders drawn by postcode, not maps. Trust isn't given, it's earned, or taken. In the late 2000s, one crew stood out, the Beaumont crew. Loud, flashy, territorial, but they burned out quick. Police pressure, internal splits, shifting loyalties. And where there's a power vacuum in places like Leyton or Walthamstow, something always fills it. That something was the Marley Boys. They came in quiet, no taglines, no claims, just a different mindset. Younger, sharper, tactical. A group mostly made up of Somali teens and 20-somethings, caught between cultures, growing up in a city that offered survival instead of opportunity. For them, street beef wasn't just about land, it was about identity, who you were and who you weren't allowed to be. They didn't chase likes, they chased leverage. They built something that looked less like a gang and more like an enterprise. The product? Fear. And the structure they created turned a local crew into one of East London's most feared networks. To grasp their rise, you need to understand how the rules changed. Back then, crews fought for control of blocks, street-level dealing, loud, obvious, easy to track, easy to catch. But the Marley Boys were watching a shift, a new strategy growing beneath the radar, county lines. Here's how it worked. 1. Instead of flooding your own streets with drugs, you move the product out. 2. Smaller towns, less heat, steady demand. 3. One phone line becomes your command center. 4. Blast out messages, offering crack, heroin, anything. 5. Send someone, usually a teen, to make the delivery. The kids were the key. No records. Easy to manipulate. Some were seduced, some were coerced, but all were expendable. One line could pull in 2,000 to 3,000 pounds a day. The Marley Boys ran dozens, but it wasn't just scale, it was structure, runners, safe spots, multiple layers, enough distance to make snitching almost impossible. They operated like a network, not a street crew. Shut down one line, 2 more opened, and back in East London, it stayed quiet, no hype, no heat, just efficient control. But even the tightest system has a weak point. Someone always cracks, someone talks. And when that happens, the knives come out. What followed wasn't business anymore. It was personal. It started with money. But on the roads, status is everything. Disrespect is a debt, and the only payment is revenge. May 7th, 2017. Walthamstow. 17-year-old Elijah Dornelly steps out of a dessert bar. A quiet night. He makes it just a few steps before 2 figures emerge. One stabs. Deep, swift, no words. Elijah collapses. They say he tried to get back up. He didn't make it. He was Marley-affiliated, loyal, young. His murder sparked whispers, a warning. Word pointed to Team Raw, a rival group from Stratford, loud, expanding fast. Elijah's killing didn't close a chapter. It opened a war. November 16th, 2017. Kasem McRae is walking alone. Walthamstow again. The response is brutal. 4 attackers, knives only. Quick and silent. It's not about theft, not random. It's score settling. Linked to Hamza Ul Haq, a Marley tactician, cold, strategic. March 14th, 2018. Joseph Williams Torres. Parked car, idle conversation. No gang ties, just a face mistaken for someone else. 2 shots through the window. Joseph dies instantly. But this time it wasn't a street player. It was an innocent. Police point to Ul Haq again. Another hit, same pattern. But this time the cost was too high. The streets were spinning out. January 8th, 2019. Jaden Moodie, just 14, riding a moped in Leyton. It's a school night. A stolen black car comes from nowhere. Lights off, speed rising. It slams him. Hard. He falls. They jump out and stab him. 9 times in 10 seconds. He never stood a chance. Linked to a rival group. Maybe just on social. Maybe just a name. To the Marley boys, that was enough. 4 deaths in under a year. Each colder than the last. And the silence between killings. That's what made it worse. By mid-2019, East London felt like it was holding its breath. Schools tightened security. Kids wiped social media. A single wrong emoji could get you targeted. But behind closed doors, the Met was watching. They called it Operation Takistan. Months of data, CCTV, phone dumps, undercover work. They tracked kids from platforms to distant towns, Norwich, Hastings, Ipswich, over and over. Same faces, same routines. They found missing teens locked in flats hours from home, bruised, hooked, trapped. It all came back to one crew, one network, one name. Raids started in late 2018, simultaneous strikes in Leyton, Walthamstow, Stratford. Police found burners, cash, blades. One phone had 70+ active drug contacts. Another had a note in the Reminders app. Sort him. Fast. That was the turning point. January 2019. Ayub Majduleen, linked to Jaden Moodie's murder. No eyewitnesses, no weapons, just a glove. Dropped at the scene. Forensics matched his DNA. CCTV showed him wearing it at a petrol station earlier that night. He was 19. Already flagged. In December 2019, he was convicted. Life, minimum 21 years. Then came Hamza Ul Haq, the chess master. Police connected him to Kasem and Joseph's killings, not for pulling the trigger, but for giving the order. Surveillance, burner data, movements. In court, he barely moved. Found guilty, life sentence. Minimum 36 years. Others followed, teens, couriers, scouts, drug runners caught at train stations. Most names never hit the news. But the web started to unravel. By 2020, the Marley boys weren't invisible anymore. But the story doesn't end in a courtroom. Because the structure didn't die, it adapted. The Marley boys lost key players, but their model, their blueprint, survived. Still used, still spreading. New faces, same cycle. County lines didn't stop. They evolved. Quiet towns like Gillingham, Basingstoke, Lowestoft. Still seeing kids, some just 13, running drugs. Still moving money. Still trading silence for survival. And for the families left behind, there's no fix. Jaden's mom speaks at schools, warns students, says it feels like shouting into a storm. Kasem's friends don't go out after dark anymore. Joseph's name gets left out of reports, like he never existed. It's easy to blame the gangs, But what about the reasons they grow? What about the hungry kid who says yes because saying no gets him hurt? What about the silence that keeps him alive? This wasn't just about crime. It was about survival. The Marley boys didn't invent the game. They just played it better than most. And unless something changes, someone else will pick up the phone line. So now I'll ask you, what do you do with the truth when silence is safer?